This gentleman will be inducting the longest reigning undisputed middleweight champion. Recently, he just got a doctorate degree. Mr. Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins. And I know tonight was a special evening because we knew, well, the staff knew that your sisters came and surprised you tonight to be here for your special evening. The gentleman that's going to be inducting him is a 3-division world champion, a 2-time lineal champion, voted pound-for-pound fighter by Ring Magazine. Sugar Shane Mosley, come on up.
How you guys doing out there? We got a stack house tonight. We got a lot of great fighters here, and I just want to say that, I'm so grateful that the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame kept this going for years to come, because there's so many great fighters out here, and what would we do if we could all get together and do this? It's Boxing Hall of Fame type of thing. But anyway, I would just like to say that Bernard Hopkins has been like a big brother to me and probably so many other fighters out there. It kind of started out with us being in partners in Golden Boy. And he was the big brother in Golden Boy. And one thing I couldn't understand is I knew that he was, getting ready to be a partner, but I couldn't understand why Oscar had to fight him first before they became partners in Golden Boy. I knew better. I knew not to fight Bernard Hopkins because he was the executioner. He literally goes in there, and being twice my size, goes in there and tries to kill you. But Oscar, he elected to do it, and they became partners to Golden Boy, and I became one of the other partners to Golden Boy, and it was a great thing. He was the big brother. And then also, I would like to say that I thank you, Bernard, for basically he's the one that helped make that match with Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd can attest to that. When we jumped into the ring, we was the promoter, so we jumped into the ring, and we kind of go to Floyd along a little bit, and Bernard was the ringleader, and he was, like I said, he was my big brother. So he said, we gotta go in there, we gotta get that fight. And we got the fight, and I really, really thank you for that fight that I got with Floyd. It was great, thank you. So, I know Bernard, I'm not really a long talker, but Bernard, he has a lot of great stories and great things to say, but I just want to induct my big brother. He's been a world champion for 3 decades. 3 decades. One of the greatest fighters, greatest persons, very loyal, loving. I'd like to induct Bernard Hopkins.
First, I like to let everyone know that everyone that came up here, every little thing they said, I was going to say all in one, so I ain't going to be long. Trust me. It'll be really short on my end. I'd like to thank my family, the people that supported me. Also, the legacy of the fighters that came up and is here, the Mayweathers, Floyd himself. When you look at all the comrades, I would say, amongst fighters in any weight class, when it's all said and done, your career is over, or you had your time, either you made it to that class of Hall of Fame, or legendary status, or icons, even that is important. But one thing that I realize in boxing, that loyalty comes in time, not by what you say in the speech, not by what you say at the moment, but in time, all of us will be tested. That's in sports, life, relationships. And I stick to that. Whether you can agree to disagree, I understand the best defense in life was a great offense. I use that in my personal life and never been back to anybody's penitentiary in 3 decades. And I'm not being braggadocious about it. I'm just letting you know that everybody in here, even non-fighters, women or men, have a story. Whatever story that you feel, that you can remember, no matter how old and how young, that define who you are today. Belts, no belts, millions or no millions. That is your defining moment that made you who you are or what you want to be. The reason I can sit or stand here tonight and speak the way I speak and represent the way I represent myself, my family, and then my community is because a good defense and a good offense. Hit, not get hit. And a lot of people here who had the job to cover us as fighters, as we climbed up the ladder to be great, or to dare to be great, couldn't understand my style. Couldn't understand a lot of fighters' style in this room. But my style is paying benefits to me, to my family now, to be able to understand them, and for them to be understand and you, me. So it wasn't a bad idea, ducking more than I take, wasn't it? So, I won't be long, I promise. I'd like to thank the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, my family, my sisters, and the ones that couldn't make it, my family, aunts, uncles, people that stood way in the back in life and watched me grow as a man, which is very important, and then become a business. And I want to say one thing to the fight, well, I want to say 2 things to my comrades. I started off with a dream that I didn't turn into a dream of sleep, but a dream of doing. See, I know words are important, and I know words can put you to sleep. When you dream it and don't put work behind it, it becomes just a sleeping dream. And I look at it 30 years later, since 1988, my first professional fight in Atlantic City with Clinton Mitchell at the Resort Casino, and I lost a 4-round split decision. That was in '88. And if you look at any of my beginning of my travel, beginning of my journey, you will see 88, 89, and 90 inactive. After that first defeat in 1988, I was off of boxing, not thinking about boxing, really done with boxing. I was on the street heavy in Philadelphia, big city. But I still had about 8 years of parole to walk off, but I was gambling. And it took a friend, a schoolmate, mother begging and pleading for me to do something for her so she can do something for me. And that struck something in my head about what I don't know now as a 54-year-old adult that I knew then, which I had in me, is that this wasn't what I wanted to do or be. And I could say without getting into details, I stopped. And I went back to the drawing board. And there's a trainer named Bowie Fisher, who probably won't be in anybody's Hall of Fame because he didn't have 5 or 6 champions, but he had me. And he promised me, and I promised him that I would be in the gym every day, and we really had a decades of contest. Who's going to not be in the gym to say, I got you? I'm so glad that I didn't give up. I'm so glad that I'm here to be the last speaker, to drop the mic when I'm finished. To say that everyone here that think that defense ain't a good offense, you can ask one of the greats, Mayweather. That we can sit here and articulate and dialogue with anybody at any level, any degree, and not embarrass ourselves or our family, which is first, and then who we represent. So I'll say to everyone, thank you. If you think that the fighters that understand, because everyone won't get it, that just label us in the box as just a professional pugilist fighter is a foolish thing to some of us. Can't speak for all. We will represent ourselves individually, whether you're the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, or anywhere in the world, we will represent ourselves, and that will be the blueprint of how we'll be remembering our legacy, and not just for boxing. At least I can speak for Bernard Hopkins Jr. Because the legacy now goes to what? It goes to what I established now in this era for my family and their kids, the dynasty of success. It must start with the first person in our family, in our community, to be the first one to change the ignorance of not knowing, not a color, not whether you're smart or you're not, or you got a Harvard or Yale degree, but someone that understands that we are not only people, but we must look out for ourselves first, because I'm not expecting anyone in here, if I can't pay my bills, to give me a dime. And I will risk myself, all my earnings, to understand and stand on the principle and live off the interest being long-term wealth, bloodline of wealth. What is that? That's 3 generations from now. That ain't being taught to us. We, the Mayweathers, myself, we gotta teach our community the way that y'all already been taught and already been bred. Thank you, and have a good night.
Give it up again to Bernard Hopkins, our final inductee tonight. I want to thank all of you coming out to support all the inductees. Congratulations to the 2019 class.